This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good night, Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for November 16, 2022. And in the news tonight, a Manchester taxi man freed after court upholds no case submission in mob killing case. Taxi operator Orlando Powell was freed in the Manchester Parish Court on Wednesday after the judge upheld a no-case submission made by his attorney Yolanda Kiffin. Powell was charged with murder in relation to the May 6, 2022 mob killing of 61-year-old Shifton Campbell. His attorney told the news that he was discharged after presiding judge Monique Harrison upheld the no-case submission. There was no evidence linking the defendant to the death of Campbell, she said. The matter was transferred to the coroner's court for an inquest to be held on February 2, 2023. Campbell, who was described as a well-respected citizen and a dedicated community member of Victoria Town in southern Manchester, died after a crowd of people beat him on Lower Manchester Road after he was mistakenly identified as a thief. Spanish Town Mayor calls for information on SOE regulations. There is a call for urgent information to be provided to the public about the regulations that govern the recently imposed states of emergency. It has come from Mayor of Spanish Town Norman Scott, who says the security measure will negatively affect business during the Yuletide season. Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Tuesday announced the states of emergency for Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Clarendon, St. Catherine, and all police divisions in Kingston and St. Andrew, with the exception of St. Andrew North and St. Andrew Central. But Mayor Scott said plans for several activities in St. Catherine have been put on hold as he awaits critical information from the government about the SOE.
We don't know what time the businesses are to close in the afternoon. We don't know what time it will be given for weekends. We don't know anything yet. All we have is an announcement that there's the declaration and the soldiers are on the streets. So we await the regulations that are to come that will govern this SOE. People have already made plans for the entire month of December leading into January. And as a result of this SOE, it is going to put a damper on the expectations that people had. I mean, we've been through 2 years of COVID, and this is the first Christmas that people were really expecting. And I can tell you, even from the municipal corporations' books, we had people from Bushy Park send to us that they would like to have at least some kind of street activities. And for this to be coming at this time, it simply means that it is a serious damper. It's a surprise. Nobody was expecting this.
PNP protesters continue call for Toughtons' resignation. People's National Party President Mark Golding on Wednesday led protesters on Knutsford Boulevard in New Kingston, calling for the removal of Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Toughtons from the post. The PNP has held several protests across Jamaica demanding his sacking since news broke last month that a bacterial outbreak at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital killed more than a dozen newborns. On October 31, councillors from the St. Catherine and the Portmore municipal corporations dressed in black and staged a protest outside the Spanish Town Hospital. More protests also took place at several other hospitals across the country. CARES actively monitoring respiratory illnesses among students. President of the College of Agriculture, Science and Education in Portland, Dr. Derek Deslands, says that the institution continues to actively monitor the cases of respiratory illness impacting students. According to Deslands, there is no cause for concern. Speaking with the news today, Deslands stated that approximately 20 students are affected and that they developed difficulty breathing. The case boss was, however, quick to point out that none have tested positive for COVID-19. This is something that oftentimes occurs given the fact that we are in the flu season. These are normal cases with flu-like symptoms, and it is expected, Deslands commented. But if we see a little more than usual, then it would be cause for concern. We have had a discussion with the Ministry of Health to man that situation and just to encourage students to social distance and mask wearing, and to ensure that whatever can be done is done to keep it under control. We have 800 students and just about 20 are affected. We have had such over the years, and we just have to monitor the situation. So far, we are managing the situation, he added. The management of Region 2 of the Ministry of Education had confirmed that since last week, the Ministry of Health conducted tests on several students who have shown signs of respiratory illnesses at the Portland-based boarding institution. Tests conducted by the Health Ministry earlier this week returned negative for COVID-19. The college's administration has been encouraged by the local health authority to have the student population practice good and safe hygiene, including mask wearing, regular hand washing, and social distancing. U.S. resident gone missing in Jamaica. Michelle Simpson's loved ones are at their wits' end. On November 6, the 47-year-old Jamaican-born woman grabbed her passport in her New York home and took a flight to her country of birth. However, within 4 days of arriving in the island, Simpson went missing. The woman gave her place of abode as Bridgeport, St. Catherine, where her relatives reside. She was last seen in the vicinity of Kent's Wildflower in Portmore, according to relatives. Her relatives report that she suffers from mental health issues and is at a serious risk. She did not take her medication before she left the U.S., and we are afraid for her. Please help us find back Michelle, a concerned family member pleaded with the news. A missing person report was filed with the Greater Portmore Police, the family said. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Michelle Simpson is being asked to contact her dad, Winston Simpson, at 876-489-1330, the Constance Ring Police at 876-949-8422, 119 Police Emergency, or the nearest police station. U.S. fugitive held in Jamaica after 10 years on the run. A U.S. fugitive said to be on the run for 10 years was held in a multi-agency operation in St. James on Tuesday. The 71-year-old American is wanted for child molestation in the U.S. state of Georgia. Information reaching the news is that the man was held in Norwood, St. James, in a raid carried out by members of the Lotto Scam Task Force, Fugitive Apprehension Team, Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch, and the United States Marshals Service. He is being processed at the Barnett Street Police Station and is expected to be extradited to the United States. JDF urges citizens to report the strange faces in parishes neighboring SOEs. Following the declaration of states of emergency across several parishes, the Jamaica Defense Force is urging citizens to observe strangers in gated communities, apartment complexes, quiet communities, and the parishes neighboring those under the SOE. Prime Minister Andrew Holness declared the SOE in the parishes of Clarendon, St. Catherine, and the sections of Kingston and St. Andrew on Tuesday, stating that the increase in crime and violence presents a threat to property and the public order. In a statement to its social media pages on Wednesday, the JDF urged persons operating Airbnbs to be vigilant as they do business, warning that unscrupulous individuals may try to book stays at this time. Typical displacement areas for criminals running from the SOEs are gated communities and apartment complexes in Upper St. Andrew, or persons may migrate from Westmoreland to St. Elizabeth, from St. James to Trelawney, from St. Catherine to St. Anne, the JDF said. The JDF says it remains committed to its support to the Jamaica Constabulary Force in doing what is required to secure and safeguard Jamaica and the Jamaicans. Citizens may support the state of public emergency by using the JDF tip line at 876-837-8888 or the JCF tip line at 311. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.